as far as fraud is concerned, massive steps in the right direction have actually been made. All right, so we recently put this guy as the new, acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, and he's been kind of cooking, I'm not going to lie.
Every day, Department of Justice investigators and prosecutors work to punish those who commit fraud. For example, just this week, and it's only Tuesday, a criminal defendant was sentenced and the department obtained 2 additional guilty pleas in matters totaling over $500 million in healthcare and COVID fraud.
That's pretty good.
If you think about that,
good.
Just since yesterday, we had a guilty plea in a $160 million healthcare enrollment fraud scheme and a sentencing in a $100 million COVID-19 fraud and a guilty plea in a $160 million healthcare fraud scheme as well.
Damn, this guy's like, no bullshit. He's just like, all right, lots of these, we're jailing the retards. The retards have got to go. And here's the crazy thing. They're bringing in another 93 prosecutors to jail as many of these fraudsters as possible. I'm really happy that Trump is actually taking this seriously.
This isn't new for this department. We have a storied history of combating fraud and bringing criminal actors to justice. But the department has never adopted a comprehensive and coordinated approach to investigating and prosecuting fraud against taxpayer dollars and taxpayer-funded programs. With over $1 trillion
how have they never done this before?
At stake, every single...
How has this never happened before? Was it just because a couple of YouTubers decided to make videos calling this out and it was like, holy shit, maybe we should do something about it? Like, let's be honest. Right, Nick Shirley investigates, and then Nux Taku reacts, and then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit! It's like, whoa, this is a real thing happening, guys. We should make a fraud task force. It's crazy that no one thought of this before.
Year, threatened by increasingly sophisticated and opportunistic fraudsters, the time for this comprehensive and coordinated approach is now.
That's right.
And so today,
You're going to jail.
Proud to announce in greater detail the creation of the National Fraud Enforcement Division. Its core mission will be to zealously investigate and prosecute those who steal taxpayer dollars and rip off the American people.
That's right.
Our vision is to build a robust fraud-fighting...
We're actually getting arrests. You know, I see very often people in my comments saying, I'll believe it when there's arrests. We've had arrests. Now, it's not famous people that are arrested yet. But they're coming. It's happening. All right, I'm just saying. I'm one of those people, too. I'm like, wake me when someone goes to jail. People are actually going to jail.
Capable of investigating and prosecuting the full spectrum of fraud against taxpayer dollars. We are going to staff this division by some of the department's best prosecutors, bringing together experts in healthcare fraud, tax fraud, benefits fraud, and corporate fraud under one roof with one mission: to protect the American people from fraud.
Good. I do not like the idea that I work my butt off, I make a living, I pay taxes, and then the taxes go to the government, and then the government sends it to Somalia. I don't like that at all. It honestly makes me sick. And I really hate paying taxes. But I even hate it more when I know that the money is going to Somalia, or some fucking retard federal judge or whatever that's releasing Irina Zarutska's killer from jail.
Every U.S. Attorney's Office across the country will also be joining this re-energized fight against fraud. This means, in pure numbers, that there will be an additional 93 prosecutors in every district across the country devoted to the mission of combating fraud with the National Fraud Enforcement Division.
So this is a big deal. Things are actually finally happening.
Fraud specific.
This is a fantastic one, and this is why I like this guy.
CBS has done a lot of reporting on hospice fraud specifically. What are you doing to clamp down on that? Who exactly are you targeting?
Who are you targeting to clamp down on hospice fraud specifically?
Doctors, owners, when it comes to hospice fraud specifically.
Yes, exactly. I mean, everybody that participates in it. I mean, you see
everybody.
That fraud is the question was about hospice fraud, and that's the purest form of stealing from the American people's pockets, in that it is a lot of money designed to help the most vulnerable among us. And so, who are we prosecuting? It depends on who's committing the crime. If it's the doctor, it's the doctor. If it's the hospital organization itself, fine. If it's the families of the patient,
that's
fine.
Right. That's right. And if it's the politician, fine. All right, it's pretty good stuff.
You said earlier that this Department of Justice has indicted President Trump 4 times. Can you explain what you base that statement on? Because obviously you now run this department. Are you basing that on your experience as a defense lawyer for the president, or are you basing that
I
on
read it,
something-
what you wrote. What is that? What kind of question is that? He got indicted 4 times. He got indicted in Florida, and then he got indicted in D.C., and then they superseded in Florida, and then they superseded in D.C. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not. Am I breaking news there that he got indicted 4 times by the feds?
Like, and that's how the media works. That's just how the media operates. Now, Gavin Newsom decides he's going to get ahead of this mess. He's going to get ahead of this. All right, so this guy's planning on running for president in 2028. Let me not forget. Don't forget. California is again leading the charge against large-scale identity theft and hospice fraud. What? What are we talking about? Oh my God! Today we're taking decisive action against 14 providers who tried to use stolen identities, Medicare for non-existent hospice services. So they're trying their absolute best. It's incredible. As you can see, this has 3 million views, 2,000 likes, 12,000 replies. They're fucking killing him. They're killing him. Right? And no one cares. So Nick Shirley made an entire video investigating hospice fraud, and this was Newsom's response. Nick Shirley right now. Hey, can I see your kids? With, creepy Nick Shirley AI with a bunch of cameras. Remember when Left made believe they cared about AI? Anyway, they don't actually care about anything, you'll notice. They only care about power. Right? If you pay attention, you'll know. But the reality is, Nick Shirley responds, you tried to paint me as a pervert for exposing fraud, and as a result, radical leftists started trying to dox me and send death threats trying to kill me. Now you're taking credit for leading the charge on fraud? Are you serious? You are the fraud. This is 255,000 likes. 255,000 likes. Oh my God. Right? This was new scam just yesterday, and today he's admitting that hospices are committing fraud. This is literally his tweet from yesterday, bro. Unbelievable. Fact check. After Nick Shirley exposed widespread hospice fraud because multiple hospices operate at the same location, turns out 9 out of the 10 hospices at one location don't even bill state taxpayers for hospice care. Turns out most of them are private, and most of them aren't even taking state taxpayers. Wow. And then one day later, he's like, I am leading the charge against hospice fraud. This unbelievable dipshit is honestly insane. All right, Gavin Newsom, in fact, got exposed so badly, I think he's trying to get ahead of this by making believe he's leading the charge against fraud. Turns out we've already had confirmed that California lost over $180 billion to fraud under Newsom.
Because these in-home care providers give about $150 million a year to the labor unions, which are, of course, Gavin Newsom's #1 kind of political power base. And so it is a cycle of corruption. Newsom gives $30 billion in taxpayer money to these in-home caregivers, including huge numbers of fraud. These caregivers give money to the unions unions give the money back to Gavin Newsom. This is the dirty business of California, and he's blowing it wide open.
Leading the charge on fraud, are we, Mr. New Scam? Pretty crazy. Now, this is another breaking news. 5 more people were arrested last night in California.
And yesterday, we successfully executed search and arrest warrants at 10 separate locations and arrested 5 suspects so far throughout Southern California. I'm going to break down the details of this operation in a moment, but first, I just want to make one point very clear. This is just the latest example of the California DOJ's long-standing, ongoing, and successful efforts to combat hospice and Medi-Cal fraud.
Which they've never actually done before, and now they're only doing it because it was exposed and everyone's talking about it. Trump, is getting a task force to investigate it. They're investigating Gavin Newsom. And all of a sudden, California is making arrests. Wow! All of a sudden, California's arresting people that are engaged in fraud. Like, are we being... Like, this is crazy, dude. It's actually crazy. It's actually insane, man. Like, how transparent this all is. They never cared before. They've never given a little bit of a shit. They've never even cared a modicum of a shit, to the point that they were making fun of Nick Shirley for investigating. Right? They were telling Nick Shirley that his investigation was false. They called him a pervert for doing these investigations. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, now, all of a sudden, wow, we're arresting people, as we always have. Like, these people are so transparent, it's crazy. They've never cared about the fraud. And you know what? If you care about Medicaid or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, according to Hassan Piker, right? Literally telling people to kill people for doing fraud, right? Meanwhile, you have the entire Democratic Party running defense for fraudsters. It's honestly insane stuff. Now, Asmongold had a pretty good statement here. So this account tweets, Vice President J.D. Vance's new anti-fraud task force has identified nearly $6.3 billion in government contracts that are going to potentially fraudulent businesses. Asmongold replies, that's it. Unless these discoveries are followed by Old Testament personal accountability, the fraud will continue. We are losing probably more than $1 trillion a year. A 23-year YouTuber, without him, this would not be happening. And the truth is, he's right. He's totally right. We definitely have more fraud than this. It's not even close. Like 6.3 billion is definitely nice. It's better than before, but it's not enough. See, that's my major issue with Trump. My major issue with Trump in general is that, like, he doesn't go hard enough. I wish Trump was the scary fucking fascist that the left thinks he is. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I want these fraudsters to all be in labor camps paying up the money that they've stolen. And if it'll take their entire life to work in a labor camp to pay it up, then that's where they should be until they die. My stance is incredibly simple here. Law and order to the fucking extreme. You kill someone, we execute you. You steal from someone, you pay it back. You can't pay it back, labor camp until you make up as much money as you've stolen. And you know what? If some of these fraudsters would see their buddies in labor camps from dawn till dusk every day, they'll probably stop frauding, because ain't no one wants to take that fucking chance. And the reality is, though, it is working.
This is the FBI. We have a warrant.
Oh,
we now
shit.
have proof that Nick Shirley was
Nick Shirley was right all along.
right about what was happening in Southern California with fraud in the hospice care racket. We have arrests.
Federal authorities just announced the arrest of multiple people.
But I was told that Nick Shirley was a fraud and he didn't actually care about anything. And I was told that nothing was going to happen. I was told by panicans that nothing was going to happen. Damn, Trump vindicated once again. Things happen under Trump.
People in Southern California in connection to a massive healthcare fraud takedown targeting sham hospice facilities.
The big question, would any of this happened had Nick Shirley not made a YouTube video about it?
I actually totally agree with this. If not for the public backlash and the public investigation, would this have happened? In my opinion, no. I don't think it would have happened. I don't. It's too much of a coincidence that now all of a sudden hospice fraud is being targeted around the country. Now?
About it.
Oh, we're just
Count Chocula. Go to the Garden of Angels in this building.
It's right here.
Check in my grandma. Go look for it, bro. You see
That's what we're
Garden of
doing.
Angels.
That's what we're doing.
Getting millions of dollars. I can't find the place.
I think not. It drew attention. Now we have investigations being called.
This is literally where we're at right now, by the way. This is where we're at in society. All right? I feel like there's so much broken shit in this country that unless someone actually starts yelling and screaming about it, no one's going to even know how broken it is. Remember when the left was so mad when Elon Musk was working for the federal government with Doge? Like, do you remember when Elon Musk was trying to crack down on fraud, waste, and abuse, and, you know, they were doing, like, these anti-Elon protests every day, burning Teslas, firebombing Teslas? Like, you remember that shit? It's like, now we know why. Right, now that the fraud is actually starting to get investigated and people are going to jail, we totally understand why they were so terrified of this. You know, Tim Waltz goes out there, makes like all these statements. Oh, I personally think that Elon Musk is fucking bad and I can't wait until Trump dies. And we should bully Elon and firebomb Teslas, mostly peacefully firebombing of Teslas. You know, Tim Waltz does all that and then he's involved in one of the biggest frauds in the country with the Somali scam, right? So it's pretty insane if you think about it.
Operation Never Say Die. Sounds like a Bond movie, whatever.
Operation Never Say Die. Those arrested, which include 3 nurses, a psychologist, and a chiropractor, are accused of operating a massive hospice fraud ring in the Los Angeles area, some of whom were billing Medicare for end-of-life services for patients who weren't terminally ill.
So the federal government has had to intervene because the government of California has allowed this to go on.
It's so crazy. And they get federal taxes, and yet the federal government isn't allowed to actually arrest these people. Like, unbelievable, dude.
That is what the evidence seems to indicate.
And $230 billion is the lowest estimate. Some models estimate far higher annual fraud amounts.
We need to get serious, and we don't see that happening in California. The ecosystem is rotten. We've uncovered lots of other derivatives that happen when you don't take care of this fraud in the way it needs to be done.
We actually have licensed doctors who are allowing this to happen. How does this actually work?
So you want to know how these schemes work. I'll tell you how she did it. She approached them at a market, or that they were approached at a grocery store about signing up for her hospice care.
They approach someone in a grocery store and get them to agree to give them their identity in exchange for cash payments of a couple $100 every month of passive income.
These defendants recruited beneficiaries who were not terminally ill and paid them to pose as patients receiving hospice care.
Bro, why aren't they in jail? Like, he just said that we're arresting the doctors and shit like that. These people need to go to jail, too. Like, we literally have these people making $500 a month or whatever to give their ID to the scammers. They're also scammers. Like, what are we doing?
Two of the people arrested, Gladwin and Amy Lou Gill. The couple accused of creating a hospice in their daughter's name, allegedly swindling over $7 million from taxpayers.
Damn, bro.
It's all total fraudulent.
It's always foreigners, man. Like, I'm sorry, man. I don't want to get racist here or anything, but it's like we import people into our country, then they just fucking rape us.
Hospice services. They were signing up people who are not terminally ill. They were forging the documents, the medical records.
We arrested 8 defendants, including medical providers such as nurses and doctors.
Good.
Medicare reimbursed these companies
They all
for
gotta
services
go.
that were intended to go to patients dying from a terminal illness.
But somehow, miraculously, the survival rate for these hospice clinics are over 50%,
No
80%.
way! Like, that's the funniest part, is like we import these foreigners, and a lot of the time, like, these guys are fucking dumb. But they still fool everyone with the fraud. It's like, that's what the Somali scam, like, makes me think about all the time. Here we have these Somali communities, all right? We're importing people with literally an average IQ of 67, okay? And these guys come into our fucking country, and they blindside us. They rape our land. They pillage our villages, all right? And then they, make millions of dollars. They all have the Bentleys and Teslas and Mercedes, all right? And they're sending money abroad to Somalia. How the fuck did you fall for this? Like, these guys are some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. These people are dumb as rocks. All right, how are you falling for this? Some apes have higher IQs than Somalis. Damn, that sounds pretty racist as fuck. But it's literally true. It's, like, objectively true. So, like, how are you falling for this, man? Like, how are you falling for this? I'm talking to the government of Minnesota. Unless they're not falling for it. They're getting kickbacks and they're letting the fraud happen under their nose. Like, and they're doing it in order to get votes. Like, that's ultimately what this comes down to. It comes down to the fundamental question, are they in on it? And I think they are. Otherwise, how the fuck do you fall for this shit? Like, you're seriously expecting me to believe that you were defrauded by this person?
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. People don't really see, like, it's people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
No one got what you meant. This clip still lives rent-free in my head, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we gotta deport all of these guys. Trump, they did not assimilate, remove their citizenship, and get them out of here. Netanyahu, if you're listening, Netanyahu, if you're watching this video, the Somali community is only 2 weeks away from developing a nuclear bomb. I take it on good authority. I have a source. I have anonymous source. Bro, bananas and rice. What button do I push? The choices are too hard. All right, so, like, what the point that I'm trying to make is, like, these guys, seriously, these are the guys that are defrauding you.
70, like something astronomically high, that alone should be a big red flag.
This company had a death discharge rate of 85%. When you go to hospice, you're going there to die. You're not supposed to have an 85 survival rate coming out of your hospice facility. That is 5 times more than the national average of 17%.
You get someone's identity, you use it to make them look like a hospice patient. They miraculously survive, so that then they can just, because you can't fake their death, so they have to survive. And then I guess you return the identity and
then no, you bill them for eternity, bro. That means you're still billing them.
Continue to live on, and no one bats an eye. And then this raises questions about Medicare, Medicaid, because that does create this structure for abuse.
California's,
in my opinion, the fundamental issue here is that we have all these, like, government programs, man. I'm, like, so fucking anti-socialist here. I'm antisocial and I'm anti-socialist. I'm so tired of this shit. I'm paying for taxes for them to run these obviously easily defraudable programs that to basically rape our country because foreigners feel the need to come in and not get jobs. Like, I'm just really tired of it, man. I'm really tired of it. Taxation is theft, man. Get
Fraud
out of
rate is
here.
about 25% or $50 billion of the state's total Medicaid budget, which, according to the National Association of State Budget Officers, is right around $200 billion. The estimate, more than 29 states spend in a year.
Every criminal group saw that Gavin Newsom was opening the floodgates of state spending. They could take whatever they wanted, and he's losing now an estimated up to $50 billion a year to fraud.
I understand the arguments for it. If you're going to have a system like that, that's all the more reason we can't allow things like this to happen. If you're an advocate for Medicare, you should care about what Nick Shirley is doing.
And that's the craziest part. It's like you'll have leftists that on the one hand want to tax you to oblivion, and on the other hand, they're pro-fraud. Like how do you possibly reconcile these positions? You don't. The leftist stance is, in my opinion, inherently irrational. It is an inherently irrational position.
And those like him even more so. That fits into the sponsor of today's.
Yeah.
Did their
Yeah. And the reality is,
navigate those stories.
The reality is, I do think they're inherently irrational, though. I really do.
Task force.
Vice President J.D. Vance, writing on X, his fraud task force is taking action, arresting fraudsters who stole over $50 million from Americans.
And then this actually ties into potential election fraud on Skid Row.
The Justice Department is conducting witness testimonies with his team who recorded alleged election fraud along LA's Skid Row.
It appears based
Welcome to the Democratic Party. It's fraud. It's just all fraud.
upon this development, we may finally see some arrests and accountability in this clear-cut case.
So if you can approach people in grocery stores to get their identity for a hospice fraud, can you do the same thing to get their identity to cast a vote? Well, if we don't require ID.
Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani tells the National News Desk he believes Thursday's arrests could be a sign of what's to come.
You have individuals high up in the Department of Justice, including our U.S. Attorney, or First Assistant U.S. Attorney now, Bill Asaley here in L.A., saying that this is going to be a big priority for the DOJ. I expect to see more charges and indictments soon.
Rahmani adding, whenever the law and politics intersect in a certain way, you can expect action.
You're going to get a lot of federal government resources in terms of agents and prosecutors investigating these types of cases.
And the people that don't like Nick Shirley cannot contend with this. I'm really curious to see if CNN will cover the story. What will they say? Let's see if CNN even is. Yes, so far CNN has not
radio
covered the
silence
story at all.
Obviously, it doesn't fit the narrative.
As Gavin Newsom commented on this, what's he gonna say?
Now, in response...
Well, his response is worse than you could possibly imagine.
To the enforcement, California Governor Gavin Newsom's office writing, glad the federal government is finally stepping up to do their part.
I'm glad the federal government is finally stepping up to do their part. Dude, it's your state. I'm
really glad the federal government is finally stepping up to stop the fraud that I am letting happen on mass scale to get votes.
The government is the one that allowed this to happen. How are you doing your part since it's your state? It's just, the way he frames his games is incredible.
Are you surprised? Again, this is coming from the guy this is coming from this dumb fuck over here. Holy shit, I'm overloading, but I do so much research for these videos, it's crazy. All right, so this is coming from this guy. California is again taking the lead charge against large-scale theft and fraud. Like, no, it's not. It's literally the opposite.
The state has been taking action for years, including suspending over 280 licenses and banning new ones since 2022.
Now they are rescinding licenses because they're realizing, wow, we created the infrastructure that has the capacity for this to occur.
Now, the Anti-Fraud Task Force also revealing a total of 221 hospice providers in Los Angeles have been suspended so far due to suspected fraud.
This is a California problem. We want to be very frank about this. The federal government is the purse. All the money comes from the federal government, but it's administered through the states. California is responsible for issuing hospice licenses. They're responsible for regulating doctors and nurses.
Correct.
And the problem that you see in California is that there is no vetting and there's no checking.
That's right.
They do not care because it's not their money. Is the way.
Completely true, and that's why socialism could never work. Socialism inherently could never work because nothing is your money. So if nothing is your money, then you will never give a flying fuck about what happens to it.
The state of California looks at it.
Objectively correct. And that's what we need to deal with. And that is why we are dealing with this absolute cesspool. This delectable quagmire of retards sinking slowly but surely into the abyss. And in my stance, once again, I've already told you, my criticism of the Trump administration is that he's not the fucking radical dictator authoritarian that the leftists think he is. And in my opinion, humbly and simply put, if a government official like Gavin Newsom, for example, allegedly, if he allowed the fraud to happen through his negligence, he should be punished for his negligence. He was put in a position where he had a responsibility to manage this money, and he was not responsible. I'm not going to say that you should put him into a work camp for theft in that regard, but I think he should absolutely be charged as an accessory to this crime. And I think we need to start looking at all of society like this. Some woke judge decides to make an unbelievably terrible call in regards to the law that does not follow any form of legal framework and release a criminal that did crime for infinite times, and then that criminal goes out there and commits another crime. I think that the judge needs to be held as an accessory to the crime. The same way I think the politicians that create and enable the frameworks for fraud to happen, I think they need to be held as accessory to the fraudsters. Until it actually affects their bottom line, these motherfuckers will keep doing it, and they're just untouchable. And to all the idiots say, oh, so you want Trump to go after his political opponents? Yes! Fuck yes! Absolutely I do! If they're committing fraud, they need to go to jail.